What's going on, guys? PXCam20 back in with a brand new video. We are here for our final FIA race of the season, and it might be our final FIA race for a very long time because I don't know when the next season is going to start. But what better way to finish off the season than with a Group 3 race around Nürburgring GP? So really excited for this. Nürburgring GP usually brings some really brilliant racing, but the only thing is I think that Polyphony is trolling us because they decided to put this race for a grid start. And if you guys know grid starts around Nürburgring GP, that always ends up really well. We are starting in our Aston Martin Vantage V12 version for the Group 3 car, and there was a lot of different variety of cars that were being picked. I saw people picking the Lexus, I saw people picking the Mazda, the Corvette, the Viper. It was just all over the place, but the only thing that we did have to worry about with our car was that we have to worry about our fuel, and I'll be bringing more of that up in the intro. But before we jump into qualifying, if you guys really enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. Anyways, that is enough promoting myself. Let's jump straight into qualifying. As we head into qualifying, it's going to be very important to try to qualify as far up into the field as you can, or if not, just decide to go to the back since we are doing a grid start. But crossing the start finish line for the first time on our flyer lap, we only get a 155.2, so we decided to go again because I know we get a 154. But the qualifying guys just weren't with us for today, and unfortunately we only get a 155.234, only good enough for 13th place. So it's going to be very interesting because we're going to be starting in the middle of the pack. But jumping into the intro here, the strategy for us that we were going to implement was starting on the mediums and then switching up to two sets of softs. So we're going to do a two-stop right here since the mediums were the required tires. And in addition, like I said, since we are running the Aston Martin, we do have to worry about fuel consumption, since you can make it all the way to the end of the race, but you have to do some very heavily fuel saving. But with the Aston Martin, it's very difficult. So what we're gonna do is try to save us as much fuel as we can, so that when we go into the pit for the final time, we just do a little splash and go, and hopefully we can make it to the end without any issues. So anyways, that's the strategy. Let's jump into the race. Jump into the race now. Again, we are starting in the middle of the pack, so we have to be very cautious with our start and how we go into turn number 1 here, as we are setting our traction control to 1, waiting for the 5 red lights here. We are starting right behind the Mercedes as we're on the brakes, lights out, and away we go now as we switch the traction control from 1 to 0. Viper gets a great start right ahead of us as he's able to split the Mercedes and the Mazda, as he's now promoted into 10th place. We try to make a move onto the inside of the Mercedes, but right up ahead you can see there's a car that spins out, and you can see 5 wide right up ahead of us as we now head into turn number 2 and 3 into the Mercedes arena. Getting hit from behind, we go very wide going to turn number 2, and the Canadian ahead of us gets a 4-second penalty as we're now going 3 wide into turn number 3. Again, getting hit on the inside here as we try to cover right behind the Mercedes. We go onto the inside too far, and we accidentally make contact with the Corvette, and the Corvette gets a 1-second penalty for the contact made with us. Demoted now back into 14th place after being able to push our way into 10th. This is not looking good for us now, as we are having another car on our inside as we head into turn number 6. On turn number 6, just a gaggle of cars right ahead of us that have penalties, and also just a big pack that are all racing side by side. We pass this penalty zone, and you can see 3 cars had to serve it now as we go into the Mercedes arena. On the inside, there's a car on the inside, and it's actually the Corvette. He makes contact with us once again, and we lose the position now as we are demoted from 11th to 12th, and we now have the inside going into Schumacher. As can we hold off the 13th place driver, as we are able to just kind of sneak our way through him now. So a lot of the drama was able to get kind of resolved right there, but it's still not over, as we have a yellow flag right ahead of us, and you can see it's one of the Subarus on the left hand side, as we are actually going to jump into the replay and see what happens. Subaru decides to try to go into the inside. The Porsche covers him. Subaru said, "I'm not going to have it," and tries to take out the Porsche, but in doing so actually takes out himself. So not sure why he did that. It really didn't help him out, and it really hurt his cause, but it helped us out. So I mean, I applaud the Subaru for doing that, since we were able to get 1 free position in that situation. So now we are up into 11th. So going into lap number 3 now, nothing really happened at the end of lap number 1 or lap number 2. So we are stuck right behind the Aston Martin as we come out of the right corner. Going into the penalty zone, we do have another car right ahead of us that has to serve his penalty, and it's the Porsche that almost got taken out on lap number 1. as he's on the inside of the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin tries to make a cutback, but he's unable to successfully do so here. So he's just going to fall right behind the Porsche. We're going to follow him in the slipstream as we head into Schumacher S's, and just try to save as much fuel as we can. That's kind of the game plan right here. Just short shift as much as we can, stay right behind the slipstream, and hopefully we can save enough fuel so that we don't have to really do a splash and go on the second stop, and that'll save us about maybe a second and a half. That can be very, very crucial around here, especially because of how close everybody still is in the pack. So heading down this long straight, we're just checking on the fuel. We do have enough to make it close to the end, but we don't have enough to make it completely into the end. But in doing so, 11th place is able to make an easy overtake on us, and that was okay on our part because we didn't really want to race here, because we're going to come into the pits anyways, switch off from the mediums to the softs, and then run the softs for about 6 laps. So heading on into the pits right here, we switched off from the mediums to the softs, and this is going to be another crucial part of the race. Where we're going to come out right here is we do want some open track right ahead of us, and unfortunately we get kind of stuck behind this little pack, but we do have a little gap between us and the Subaru right ahead of us. So if we can run our laps consistently and try to get around him as soon as possible, we can take advantage of these softs, and hopefully we don't get caught up too much, and just run our race here, manage our time, and manage our fuel consumption. As we are taking a little peek onto the inside of the Subaru, gets a little bit squirrely, so we back out of there and just let him get the position now as we come out of down low curve. Coming out of the corner, the Subaru gets a little bit loose. He makes contact with us as we run into the back of him, and we get a 4-second penalty. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I give up. I can't. Sorry about that, guys. Just had to have a little quick mental breakdown. But anyways, going into the replay here, you can see the Subaru just got very, very loose. We made contact with the back of his rear bumper, and we just could not avoid that situation. So we get our 4-second penalty, and we also add insult to injury as we lose 2 more positions. So get a 4-second penalty, lose the 14th place from the BMW and the other Aston Martin, and we are now demoted back into 16th place. So this race went from okay to very bad in a matter of a couple of seconds here, as we have to just focus on what the game plan is, and that is just saving fuel and just running consistent lap time. So it's going to be very, very hard to try to sneak our way through this pack, as 4 seconds is a very long time, especially on this penalty zone. Once you get that 4 seconds, that can easily add to about 5 seconds, because the fact that you're, in the middle of the straight, you end up losing more than 4 seconds, as we decided to try to sneak our way onto the inside of the BMW. Try to make the overtake going into turn number 1. We brake as late as we can, and we were actually able to get the overtake done, but again, just we can only celebrate for so long because we have to serve that 4-second penalty. So we're trying to abuse the softs as much as we can, since we have to make up as much time as we can before we hit the penalty line. And coming out of turn number 6 here, crossing this penalty zone, we have to serve our penalty now as we let 1-2 cars pass by. We're going to lose another position here. Fortunately, 18th was so far back that he wasn't able to complete an overtake, but he did try to make an attempt on the outside, but we're able to cover him on the inside. So up into 17th place now. Can we do anything here to catch up to these guys, since we do have clear track right ahead of us? So heading to the final chicane, brake right after the 100-meter board. We do have a yellow flag, but we really can't see who the culprit was, as we weren't close enough there. But coming up to this Mercedes, I'm assuming that it was him, since he was ghosted out. I'm going very, very slowly, and a couple of cars ahead of us were able to come into the pits. So that might give us some position here, and we might be able to kind of find our way up ahead, but we're going to be stuck right behind a lot of these guys as we're trying to make a move onto the inside and in the middle of 2 cars going to turn number 1. We try to brake as late as we can, and we're able to make the overtake between 2 cars. We split the middle as we go into the replay here. You can see 14th was coming out of the pits, and we were able to just get in between both of these guys. Mercedes gave me plenty of room, so thank you to the Mercedes. And we are now from, what was it, 17th place all the way up into 14th place. But again, we can only have this celebration short-lived, since we do have to come into the pits and switch off from our set of softs to another set of softs. So coming out down low curve, there's another yellow flag, and it's actually the Porsche. So this Porsche, oh no, it's not the Porsche. Yeah, it's a Porsche. So the Porsche has been all over the place here throughout this race, as he was involved with an incident in lap number 1. He had a servo penalty, but again, he has the yellow flag here, and it's because of him spinning out. So we were able to get the overtake on him and just capitalize on his mistake, get up into 13th place, and just set as consistent of lap times as we can. But unfortunately, we're starting to catch up to this group of guys right ahead of us, and that might slow us down. So without that 4-second penalty, we probably would have been up where 9th place is at. So or probably even 8th place if we were able to just hold off our consistency with our lap times and just run as fast as lap times as we can. But because of that 4-second penalty, we are stuck right behind these two guys right here as they're starting to fight side by side heading to the final chicane. The Canadian tries to take a little peek onto the inside, and the American allows him to get through it, so good on them. Nice, fair, clean, respectful racing. But in doing so, we are now behind the Aston Martin as we take a little peek on the inside, just showing that we're there, and see if we can try to make an overtake on him anywhere on the 9th lap before we come into the pits. Heading into turn number 5 and turn number 6. Again, just taking a little peek onto the inside as we try to get a better exit than him, but he was able to hold his position as we get into the slipstream. Try to see if we can go into the inside of Donut Curve, break it as late as we can. We're able to get the overtake done on the Aston Martin. We are now promoted into 12th place. So this is as best as we can do right now, especially because we have to come into the pits right here. But in doing so, we're coming to the final chicane. The Aston Martin was taking a little peek on the outside, but he thinks twice about making the move, and we defend our position here as we're now going to come into the pits. Showing the Aston Martin we're going into the pits here, we set our blinker, and we come into the pits, and we're going to do our final stop, switch off from a set of softs to another set of softs, and then just add a little bit of fuel. Since we were fuel saving, we were able to just put in about half a second to about a second of fuel, and we actually gained a little bit of time on the 13th place driver as we accidentally missed our braking point going to turn number 1. So fresh tires here, we have to let them get heat up here as we now jump into lap number 11. Tires are now nice and heated. We could just push as much as we can, just abuse these tires all the way to the end of the race. But you can see right here that the 12th place Aston Martin comes out right ahead of us, and we almost made contact with him. So we got very lucky there, because if we were to make contact with him and he got a little bit squirrely, who knows if we would have gotten a penalty, and that would have definitely ruined our race here, as we are just going our way through the race here now on lap number 13. A couple cars ahead of us did come into the pits, so we were able to just capitalize on that, and we are now promoted into 11th place. So all the way from 17th place up to 11th place, we'll take it for right now, but we do have this group of cars right ahead of us. So three cars right ahead of us. We're on the softs. We're pushing as much as we can since we have the fuel and we have the tires to make it all the way till the end. Can we do anything with this, since it seems like the ball is in our core as we now head into the corner? Taking a little peek once again on the inside of the Aston Martin. Just very optimistic to try to get onto the throttle, and didn't want to end up losing the back end. So again, we're just following right behind them, just biding our time here, waiting for the next overtaking spot to make an overtake on the Aston Martins. We're just trying to set ourselves up here, braking right before the 100-meter board. The Aston Martin goes a little bit wide and takes a very narrow entrance, so it's just going to hurt his exit right here. This is a very long straight here. You want a really great exit, so we're looking at this, seeing if we can take an opportunity here as we get on the back of him. We try to make a move on the right-hand side, but in doing so, we mistimed it, accidentally made contact with the back of his bumper, and that actually helped him out there more than hurt him, because he was able to gain an extra couple of miles per hour, and he was easily able to defend his position going into chicane. So on the final corner, again, we're still right behind him, and we've made overtakes going into turn number 1. Are we going to be close enough to try to make the overtake going into turn number 1 here, as we are now on lap number 14? Aston Martin decides to go to the right-hand side, shifts his way to the inside, defends his position. We're going to keep it on the outside, try to brake as late as we can, and see if we can keep on the left-hand side of him so that we can get a good inside entrance into turn number 2. But he does get a better exit than us, and we do have to follow right back in line with him, as we now see 7th and 6th are right ahead of us. So this is basically about a 6-car battle for 6th place if we get closer to each other. But you can see we're still getting held up by this Aston Martin, as we were all over his back bumper, just breathing all over his tailpipe, just trying to get him into forcing him to a mistake. But he didn't budge, as we now try to make a move onto the inside. This is probably going to be our best attempt to make the overtake as we brake as late as we can, but he does get a better exit than us, and he's going to have the inside going to Schumacher SS, so we have to just back out of there and allow him to hold his position. But in doing so, we did try to take a slow entrance to get a great exit, but we're just too far back here to get a great exit into the straight. So once again, we're right behind him on the slipstream. See if we can make a wide entrance in here so we can get a great exit. And it's basically a replica of the lap earlier, as we are now all over his back bumper once again. We decide to not do the same mistake we did last time, and we just go all the way to the right hand side and see if we can outbrake him going to the final chicane. And yes, we do. As we brake right after the 100-meter board, we're able to make it, slow the car down, bring down the anchors, and we now get our 10th place here as we set our sights on 9th. So we know we had the pace to catch up to 9th, but I think the fact that we got held up by the 10th place driver, we weren't able to catch up to him and regain all that gap that we lost because of the fighting that we were doing with Aston Martin. But it was a nice clean fight with Aston Martin, but unfortunately, again, we just lost too much time to these guys up ahead, and we're just gonna have to settle this race for 10th place, since we do have about 0.7 laps of fuel left. So decided to push it a little bit, but again, just no point in pushing the car more than what it needed to. We're just gonna cross the start finish line here for the final time in 10th place. So great way to finish the FIA race season, since we had some really good fun racing here and some great racing with these good cars. But again, the only thing that sucked is that we lost so much time because of that 4-second penalty. Who knows where we would have finished here? Maybe 6th, 5th, who knows. I tried to do the calculations from the amount of time that we lost from the penalty, but not only that, the time that we lost getting stuck behind some of these cars. So I mean, in total we probably lost about maybe 6 to 7 seconds, depending where we would have came out at. If we would have came out with nice clean open air ahead of us, then we probably could have, you know, not lost like 2 seconds. But you can see that 6th was the closest to us, so we probably could have finished in 6th here for this race. But I'll take a 10th. Again, the penalty really screwed us over. I tried doing as much as I can to try to avoid the spinning Subaru, but at the end of the day, we just didn't do enough. Let me know how you guys did on your FIA race, and let me know if you guys are excited for the next season. If you guys really enjoyed the content, which I'm assuming you guys did, since you guys made it all the way to the end of the video, feel free to hit that like button and press the subscribe button. And if you guys really enjoy the content, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.